the way around using 1/4 of a seam allowance, and then I put some seam binding to match this pocket on the top. So now what I'm going to do, and what I was going to do before I decided to do that, and I've also lined it so it's not just one piece of fabric, it's two. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pin the bottom just to make sure this is all straight. I'm going to use blue pins because I want the pink pins and the yellow pins to do something different for me. So I'm going to use the blue ones just to pin this all the way down the bottom. And then I'm going to take my yellow pins, let's do yellow, because I got pink, yellow and blue. Okay, some yellow pins there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some pockets in this, on this pocket, because if I put it on there like so, what I'm going to end up having is that pocket and just that pocket. Well, I want this pocket to be 3 pockets or maybe 2 by themselves, and then that could be either a magazine or a tablet pocket like I explained earlier on. So what I've done is I've pinned all this now. Don't worry about the edging, I'm not. I know one side is a little bit bigger than the other side. No, it isn't. That's where I've pinned it. Let me bring it across a bit more. There we are. So make sure you've got your corners to your corners, corner fabric to corner fabric, because you don't want to be doing this. We're going to be stitching in a second to create our pockets and then find out you've put this in the wrong place. This is why I'm using my blue pins, because my blue pins will tell me where the edge is. So I've put 3 pins there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create 3 pockets. So where is my, I'm going to use my fabric pen, or even my pencil, my white pencil. Right, I'm going to find out what half is, and I think I've done this 13 inches if I'm right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Right, yeah, I have. So half of 13 is approximately 7. I think that would be right in saying that. Because this is 11. No, half of 13 is not 7. It is... Oh, my head's gone. Right, what's half of 13?
Half of 13 is...
See if we can do it before my calendar.
Oh God, doesn't know actually.
6 and a half. Don't worry, got it.
Okay,
Right, 6 and a half. So just mark that with my little white pencil I'm using. So that's my half mark. Now because I want to create 3 pockets, I'm going to go half again. Now this is going to create my glasses pockets. So 6 and a half, half of 6 is 3, so probably about 3 and a half. So I'm going to sew at a 3 and a half. That should leave enough room for a pair of glasses. Then I'm going to come across here and I'm going to do the same. So 1, 2, 3, 3 and a half. That would be the same for a pair of controllers. Now I could make that pocket a little bit bigger, because the idea is it'll have glasses, a remote control, and there was something else I wanted it to hold. But as long as I have got 3 pockets, which I've marked 3 places, don't worry about this. This comes off with a bit of water. Don't worry about that middle mark, because we're going to concentrate on 2. So there's the first one, there's the second one. Then I'm going to get my Bristol ruler and my pen that comes off with heat, my erasable pen, and I'm going to use that mark I've just made, line it up with the lines on my mat, and I'm going to draw straight on my fabric till I get my line. That will create my first pocket. I'm going to do the same to this one. Make sure everything is straight. So There's my first pocket, my second pocket that's got the leaves in, and then there's my third. So let's put the lid on this. So I'm going to use straight stitch. If I went from the top, you could do it from the top if you wanted to. The only thing we're doing it from the top is the top bit is going to be, so it's up to you. This is where you've got to decide again. I know decisions of crafting I never go by. Right, I can either start my stitching from there, so it'll just sew from there and this will be loose, or I can start from there and this is going to be a bit rigid. I'm going to do it from there. I'm going to see how it is. Then if I decide I want to go up, I can always go up. The last thing I want to be doing is unpicking stitches. So I'm going to start from there, work and sew completely down on that line. See where that leaves me. See if I need to go up onto the second fabric. Hopefully not, but we'll see where we are. So I'm going to go and sew these two lines and I will be back with you in a minute. Okay, so we now have, I've sewn down the edges. I have done a bit of a fancy stitch, but it's really, I've put the width really small because I didn't want it to overshadow this and the green on the edges. So I've done that. So we've now got a pocket here, a pocket there, and we will have a pocket on the back once we've all done it. So I've got some wadding here. I've only got one layer because it's a sewing caddy. If I was doing like a sewing caddy with a bit of pin cushion, I would do it a little bit thicker. This is only a very thin layer, and like I say, hopefully we will have something that looks like an armchair caddy in a second. The only thing I didn't measure for, and maybe I should have done, was the seam binding. That's easy enough. You can even buy seam binding. You don't have to really make it. Right, so I have one piece. I'm going to layer this up like a sandwich, so I'm going to go that piece first, piece, put my other pieces on my machine a minute, because I want to cut this down. I've got to be able to see what I'm doing. I've got pink and shears all left on me. Oh my word, give me strength. Right, okay. Let's cut this down. So all I'm going to do is just want to see the edging of where I've cut to line these seam lines up. Cut it all the way around. Okay, so I've now got it cut. So what I'm going to do is, remember I said right at the beginning I want this to be alternated, so I'm going to put this face down first, remembering I've got the pattern side. I need the plain side that way. No, yeah, I've got the pattern side this way, the plain side at the top. Everything's falling. I now have my wadding. My chair needs oiling badly, and I'm just going to line that up with the edges. I'm not worrying about the length of it. It can be a little bit bigger than what I have got it. I'm not worrying about the actual length. I'm going to raise you up slightly because you're going to need it to see all my dust. This is me. This is how I craft. Somebody always asks me, do you craft neatly? No. I always craft like this. My space gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. Right, I'm going to line these little seam lining these edges up because they're the important pieces. Everything else will fall into place. I'm going to move it that way so I can see where I am going. And if, only if, so I should have it, yeah, I do. Okay. Like I say, everything else will fall into place. And the edges, I haven't counted for them because obviously I need to put some seam binding around my edges. I'm going to pin all this now into place, ready for me to take on my machine. And all I'm going to do to this, I don't know whether to quilt this. I might see what it looks like in a second though. I'm debating whether to quilt it or whether to leave it. Let's see what it looks like if I left it. See what it does. Right, so that's that. This will then go in there. It does need some sort of quilting here. I'm going to leave this plain. I might quilt this side because I've got the quilting going on this. So I'm going to quilt on that side. That will be the side that's in the inside of the arm. So now, once all this is sewn, because it's not put together as of yet, I'll have a pocket there, I'll have a pocket there, there and there. And like I say, I'm going to do some quilting like I've done here, but I'm not going to do it in green. I'm just going to stick to the same colour. I'm going to do it all on this side. I won't touch this side at all. And then once I've done that and quilted it and made some groovy patterns, I'm going to go around the edges on 1/4 of a seam allowance, on a straight stitch, and I will pin these down before I go around, and then I can go around over the top as well. So I'm going to get crack on with doing that. I'm going to do some quilting. I'll probably stop midway and show you what I've got before I piece everything together. And yeah, we nearly have got an armchair caddy. I'll see you in a second. Hi ladies. Hi everyone. So I have I've ironed my thing, so it's taken away all those marks I made. I might have to go over it again actually because there's a little bit of it is still there. And I've done my seam binding. So my seam binding is 3 inches wide, and then I've just carried on cutting, and then I've literally measured it from there to there and then doubled it, and I've forgotten the measurements. So without the seam binding on, it works out 19 inches, and without the seam binding on it is 13 inches wide. So I thought I'd show you how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is iron it. You want to iron it in half first, then you want to take, that's your half mark, then you want to take each side and then iron them in, and that's where you get your seam binding. You make your own seam binding. So now I'm going to show you how I would attach it. So I wouldn't start on the corners because there is a bit of a trick to the corner, so I wouldn't start with the corners. I'd start somewhere where I can sew for a bit, and then I'll worry about the corners in a minute. So I'm going to start from the centre line, or where the centre line is, and I'm just going to fold that over. Now you can use either or. You can use clips or you can use pins. For me, I always get my seam binding, I always miss it. Don't know how. I'll mark it out all like this and then I'll end up missing it. So I'm just going to go right through the other sides, and then I'm pushing my pin down. Okay, and then the same there, and push it down. Right, one more, and then I'm going to show you how I do the corners, and then I'm going to go on my machine and just stitch. So how to do the corners. Now there's two ways you can do it. The first way is you can round your corner off by cutting it at an angle, so this comes round, but as I want it to be more square, this is how you do it. So you bring your seam binding up over, you hold this and you bring it down, and you hold this. Now bring your fingers up and then you literally, it does work, fold it over, and you'll get a sort of a diagonal alley. I was going to say there. No, you don't get diagonal alley. That's Harry Potter. You get a diagonal line. Oh my word, what the heck is wrong with me today? Right, pin. That's not pinning, so I'm going to get my clips because it's gone a little bit too thick. Diagonal alley. Right, so I'm going to pin it. My clip there, and there. Might use my pegs actually instead of my pins because it might be a bit easier to do, especially with me taking it over by the machine. So another corner, you hold this side, bring it down as you would, and then what I did was slide my fingers up, and then I'd push these two corners down till you get a nice, wait a minute, I'll do that again. There, that's better. And then make sure, I'm going to come up halfway, which is where I started on the other side. And I literally, with the seam binding, I haven't measured it. All I've done is measure my end piece, and then I've doubled it when cutting it out with the ruler. So at this point, I know I've got all the way around to do. But make sure you catch in all the seam binding around the other side. If you're quite happy with it, leave it as it is. I'm going to take these pins out. I'm going to put some clips in instead of. And this is why I wasn't too worried when it came to the edges. Okay. These are all the clips I have. So we're just going to go. I'm going to show you one more corner and then I'm going to pause the video. Well, stop filming, and then I'm going to show you it once I've got it over by the machine, because this is like a 2-second thing. Last night I finished at, I think I was out here at midnight, 12, it was something like that. Something stupid, but I really enjoy doing this. Right, so bring it over your corner and down, push this back up, and then you will see your corner if you're unsure and you think, oh, I don't know whether I like that corner, do it again. That's more like it. Because I don't think I've got enough pins to go all the way around this. And there isn't any on my magic thing. Right, so I'm going to pin the rest. We're going to find some more pins, pin the rest of it, and then I'm going to take you over by my sewing machine where we'll be on the last step to sew all this up, and then I'm going to give it, yeah, sew it first, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing with it next. So I'll see you in about 10 seconds, 5 seconds. So I've pinned it all, managed to get some more clips. I clipped it all rather than pinned it. And again, I'm not going to start on my corners because I'll make it harder for myself. So it can start anywhere you want. I'm going to make sure though, I'm going to go right to the edge of my seam binding, because that the stitches are what will hold the whole thing together and the seam binding. So there's pointless going up here because you'll have a complete, this will be loose. To try and go as nearer to the edge as you can without sort of going over it. And I'm just going to line it up with one of the lines on my machine. It's a bit too close. There. Right, and then I'm just going to sew for it. So the first thing I need to do is come forward and back. Like I say, these are what holds your stitches in place. And then you just sew for it. I'm going to sew all the way around, take the clips out as I go, and I will see you in a second. So before you see the finished thing, these little labels that I've got, I wanted to quickly tell you how to put them on. They're called love labels and they're by Love Mode. Now I bought these in my nearest sewing shop. You can buy them in a nearest supermarket or whatnot, and they have an iron-on back. So what I've done with my piece of work, I'll show you now, is I've ironed the first half on first. I've stitched that and then flipped my work the other side, and then I've ironed that on, so there, and then I've stitched that from there all the way down. So I'll show you how again I've done this. Say that is my, fold this in half. Say that is my work. So I have the front and I have the back. I've taken one of these labels. I've ironed that on, because like I say, it's got like an iron-on film back. Iron on it first, and then sew it from your half point. So sew it from there down, across and back up, and then flip it over, iron that side, and then do the same from there down and back up. And then that way then you've not only ironed it like it says to do, but you've sewn it on, and it's not going to come anywhere. So I'm going to show you, this is the only bit of seam binding I have left from when I did it all, and this is the final thing. This is what it looks like. Like I say, I've quilted most of it. There was no set pattern to this. I haven't followed a pattern. I followed a video, but I wanted to do it in my style. I've sort of, as I watched it, I began to think, well, actually I want it to hold A, B and C, and actually I want a bit of a pattern on it, but not too girly, obviously, because this is going to a gentleman. So I've ironed it all completely flat. I might go over these little edges just so that they're completely ironed down, or press them down. I might press them down. And then that is the back, where you can see I've ironed it first, sewn it, and then I flipped it over. So this is the back, and it does need, there are a few beginning threads, just a little snad, little tiny little bits and bobs. That's the back, and then that is going to sit over the armchair, and these are the pockets. So let me show you. So we have a tablet or magazine pocket here, and it's quite deep. We have maybe a glasses case or a postcard, if my gentleman receives postcards through the door. This, because I've got my glasses on, this can hold a pair of glasses, and then that's your controller, because that's what it was originally made for. So you can sort of see how it blends in and how it works. I really do hope I've inspired you to give this a go, or even if I haven't given this a particular go, to make something for a gentleman in your life. It doesn't have to be a husband. I'm not making this for Chris. Though Chris has said, why haven't I got one? I'm not making this for Chris, but I'm making this for our friend, and I know it will be well received. So you don't have to, you know, make something for your loved, and make something for a husband. You can make something for a loved one or a friend, or it could be a young gentleman, it could be your grandchild or your children. Just have a go and have a think, because I was thinking about these. You could make one, and I've had an idea about making one for that to slot under the mattress, and then I've got an organizer, a bed organizer, even though it was an armchair organizer. If that's slotted under the mattress so it holds the weight down, then this could be at the side of the bed, and then you've got pockets. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an armchair caddy, and that is a good idea actually. I might make that one for myself. So I really do hope you've enjoyed. I'm going to give it one more steam press, and I'm going to just iron these little rivets this side down, and then that's it. And I will catch up with you all in my next video. Please stay tuned. There is a lot more ideas and inspiration I want to share with you coming up. But like I say, I really do hope you enjoyed, and I will speak to you all in my next video. Bye for now, ladies. Bye.